Okay, today I'm going to talk to you about irradiation and contamination. These are both methods by which people can be affected by radioactive sources. So first of all, I'm going to talk to you about irradiation. Now, irradiation is just when you are exposed to a radioactive source. Now, let me show you an example. So if we imagine in a room, let's say there was just this particular radioactive source is just left out on the side. Now here is a person who goes into that room. Now this object is emitting radiation. Now that radiation is going to affect this person here whilst they are in that room. However, the important thing about irradiation is it does not make something radioactive. Now, what does that mean? That means that this person will only be affected by that radioactive source when they are in close proximity to that radioactive source. Let's say the second this person leaves the room and they go elsewhere, they are absolutely fine. They are no longer going to be affected by this radioactive source. That is irradiation. Now, how do we prevent people being damaged by means of radiation? Because, for example, in hospitals, we have people who work all day long taking x-rays. So a couple of different things can be done. 3 different things I'm going to show you. First of all, at all times when the radioactive source isn't being used, it should be stored in a lead box. Thick lead won't let any type of radiation through, alpha, beta or gamma. Secondly, let's say this person is working in the hospital taking x-rays all day long. When the x-rays are being taken, they can actually go into a different room. So they actually go into a different room, and by doing so, they're no longer exposed, or they won't be exposed to the radioactive source. So the second thing is a different room. And thirdly, what they can do, if you work in a hospital, you can wear this little badge, which is photographic film badge. Now what that does is that actually gives you an indication of how much radiation you've been exposed to, and therefore you could, if it's getting high, you can therefore take measures to make sure you are not being exposed anymore. Okay, so that's irradiation. The other one we need to look at is contamination. Now this one is potentially a little bit more serious, because this is when radioactive atoms get onto an object. So let's just imagine we've got a radioactive source right here, but this time this person has gone over and they have touched that radioactive source right there. So here they are. Apologies for my stick man, but they have touched this radioactive source right here, okay? Now, this can be more serious because by touching this without any gloves on, the radioactive source has got onto their hands. So all the time, these radioactive atoms could decay, and as they decay, they emit radiation. Now, unlike with irradiation, with contamination, when this person leaves this place, they're still going to be affected by the radioactive source because it's physically on them, releasing radiation at all times. So they are not safe even if they are to leave the place where this radioactive source is, because it's now on them. That's what contamination means in this context. So what could be done to prevent contamination? So first of all, whenever handling radioactive sources, this person should obviously be wearing gloves. They also shouldn't be picking the radioactive source up with their hands. They should be using tongs. And in certain cases, depending on the type and the kind of strength of the radioactive source, They could even, or it could even be appropriate for them to be wearing a full-on protective suit. By doing this, it means that even if some radioactive material is to get on the suit, when they take off the suit, it will no longer be affecting them. So that is the difference between irradiation and contamination. Thank you.